Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Today we are going to compare McLean and Potomac. So McLean in Virginia and Potomac in what state, Leah?
Maryland.
Maryland is very good. I didn't even prep you for that one. So when people are planning a move to the DC metro area and they are looking in the 1 million plus price point, McLean and Potomac often come to the top of the list pretty quickly. They're close in, they're both very well regarded, and they share many, many similarities. So which one is better and which one is actually right for you? Well, let's talk about the differences. So Potomac is in southern Montgomery County, Maryland. It is just outside the beltway and it borders the Potomac River. McLean is in Fairfax County. It is west of DC and inside the beltway. Each area is comprised of dozens of smaller neighborhoods that each sort of have their own personality and flavor. But most notable about both areas are going to be the luxury homes with the higher price points. So first things up, let's talk about commute, because that's probably going to be really important for you when trying to decide which area that you want to live in. So your commute times are going to vary depending on where you live, because there are businesses and areas of employment located all over the metro area. McLean is well located inside the middle of multiple different business areas. So aside from DC, you've also got businesses in Arlington, and then you've got Tyson's, and then you also have the Dulles corridor, which has a ton of stuff out that direction, and McLean's very well located for all of that. So if you're working in Virginia or DC, you might be happier in McLean, but Potomac's going to be a longer commute for most people depending on sort of where they're going. If they're headed downtown, you might be sort of 6 and 1, half dozen of the other between McLean and Potomac, just kind of depending on what route you take and what time you leave. To get over to 270 and to get over to Metro, it could take 20 minutes or more, just depending on how far you have to sort of meander to get out of Potomac and to those transportation corridors. There's also the option of taking River Road, but that can back up as well. And you kind of also have to be cognizant of the fact that you're going to hit some speed cameras and things like that, because they do have quite a few of those in Maryland. Now let's sort of hash out McLean versus Potomac real estate. In the last year, Leah, how many single-family homes sold in McLean?
408.
Very good. The average house in McLean in the past year closed for $2.143 million. The median price of those homes in McLean was, do you know? I like how you have to think.
1.7 million.
Okay. In the past year, now remember, it was 408 homes closed in McLean. How many single-family homes sold in Potomac in the past year?
406.
That is so close. Isn't that unbelievable how close it is?
2.
Just the difference of 2. The average house in the past year in Potomac closed for $1.496 million, and the median price was $1.297. So we see the prices are lower, sort of these averages in Potomac versus McLean. Now, Virginia is a lot more tear down and builder friendly. Maryland has a lot more rules when it comes to tearing everything down, so you're going to see more renovations on the Potomac home, and you'll see more newer housing stock in McLean, because a lot of times when people sort of approach this house that maybe they think is like quote unquote obsolete, they'll tear it down, and Virginia will help them do that. It's really more likely that you're going to see an 80s home in Potomac that's been renovated or rebuilt or added onto, and that same 80s home in McLean is likely going to get torn down. This will make you think that the Potomac housing stock is dated, and that may be an accurate assessment. So McLean versus Potomac, let's talk a little bit about taxes. Income taxes are going to be lower in McLean because it's just on the Virginia side. If you make $100,000, you're going to pay $7,800 in Maryland state taxes, and in Virginia, you're going to pay $5,500. As your salary goes up, the savings can actually be quite significant, because Virginia has a flat tax on incomes above $17,000, and that is 5.75%. Virginia does have a personal property tax on vehicles, trailers, RVs, and boats, which may equalize if you have a lot of vehicles. This is going to vary by county, but it's going to be somewhere between $4 and $5 per $100 of assessed value on the vehicle. So you have to kind of weigh all of that together and decide, how many vehicles do I have? Do I have boats? Do I have airplanes? And sort of decide what the offset is. All the areas that are sort of close in on the Maryland side are also going to have the 3.2% tax for the county as well on income. Now, McLean versus Potomac schools, talk about that for a hot second. Potomac schools are well ranked and sought after. You have a lot of parental involvement in the early years here and a huge focus on academics and extracurriculars. Montgomery County schools, like a lot of districts, had a couple rough years post-COVID with a lot of changes to the curriculum and then COVID responses and whether they opened schools timely or not timely. McLean is part of Fairfax County, and they had similar challenges as Montgomery County did in terms of keeping everybody on the same pace, on the same page, and getting everybody back into school post-COVID. There was definitely a lot of kind of uproar about all of that. In both areas, you are probably going to find that there's a lot of kids that also attend private school because you've got the well-moneyed here, and then they have those choices, right? If the public school is not serving their needs, they will potentially go private because you've got some very high-ranking private schools in both McLean area and Potomac. Now, when it comes to colleges, Virginia actually sort of wins here because they've got many more public and well-ranked colleges and universities of all sizes and levels of competitiveness than when it really comes to Maryland. Shopping and restaurants. Well, in Potomac, you've got Potomac Village Shopping Center, which is at River Road and Falls Road intersection. There's Safeway and Giant Grocery Store here. There's more shopping at Tuckerman and Seven Locks. Nearby Bethesda also has a ton of stuff downtown, a very robust shopping area with some of the bigger chain stores. You're also going to find smaller local shops, local restaurants, lots of mom and pop shops, and kind of local chains everywhere between Bethesda and Potomac. There's Montgomery Mall, where you've got Nordstrom. That's also very close to Potomac proper, and then a variety of shops and restaurants there. So a word on the restaurants, they are scattered throughout Potomac. And like I said, there's really much more options in neighboring Bethesda, but you've got a lot here to sort of keep you well fed throughout your years here. Now, McLean has some local shops, but I would say that the big draw for McLean is the shopping that's in Tyson's Corner. There's a couple malls there, and there's every store that you could ever possibly imagine, and there's restaurants in McLean, but the real options are, like I said, in the adjacent Tyson's Corner, which used to be considered part of McLean, and you either had an address that was like McLean or Vienna, and I kind of talk more about that in the McLean and Vienna videos. But they've given Tyson's now its own address so that people are able to decide if they want to differentiate themselves as living in Tyson's versus either McLean or Vienna. So now let's talk about the parks and the outdoor situation and all kinds of fun. So Potomac has country clubs. They have tons of trails. They have lots of green space. The hiking is unbeatable along the Potomac River. Great Falls Trail and Billy Goat Trail have some of the best views and vistas that you could ever possibly want of the river, of the falls, and all of that good stuff. Fun fact, there's actually an annual 50-mile Kennedy walk that goes from Potomac all the way up to Harper's Ferry, West Virginia. Anyway, this was the walk that Bobby Kennedy had done in his loafers he said Americans needed to work out more. So he did this walk from Harper's Ferry down to DC, essentially, and now people sort of redo it every February. 50 miles, that's a lot. You want to walk it with me? Didn't think so. Potomac also has Cabin John Regional Park, which has a lot of fun for everybody. There's a really large playground there. There's an ice rink. There's a train that has various themed rides throughout the years. The girls and I did the Halloween ride. Do you remember that? Where we had to find the things in the woods, the Halloween ride?
No.
I didn't think you would. It was a couple years ago, but we definitely did it. And then it's really more geared, though, for little kids. So even these guys were 6 and 8, and they were kind of over it at that point. There's also a great dog park here as well. As far as Potomac fun, they like golf in Potomac. They really like golf. There's Congressional Country Club.
Me too!
You like mini golf. Congressional also has actually a Bethesda mailing address, but it falls inside the Potomac area. Avenel is another one, and then the Falls Road Golf Course. Unlike Potomac, there is not enough land in McLean for golf courses. So they build lots and lots of houses in McLean because that's how Virginia does things. There are parks, though, and there are many playgrounds for kids, to include the Clemagentry Playground, which is pretty amazing. There's a similar trail system on the Virginia side like you have on the Maryland side for running along sort of the Potomac area and the Potomac River. Now, let's zip this up. So, both McLean and Potomac are really great places to live, nice homes, good schools, and decent suburban amenities. You're gonna find people that are gonna say that sort of each area and their side of the river is better. But really what it kind of boils down to, in my opinion, is lifestyle, all right? So we can sum this up quickly. If you want a quieter community with less hustle and bustle, more land, more of a suburb, Potomac is your place. If you want something, your budget is a little bit higher and you want something that sort of leans a little bit more towards urban access to all the things in Virginia, then I think McLean is gonna put you in the best location. I am Melissa Terzis. This is my sidekick.
Hi, I'm still here.
Yeah, Leah. And our contact info is my contact info is coming next.
It's mine, not yours, okay?
You see what she's doing to me?
Okay?
Yeah, you all think she's nice.
Bye!